entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Episode 5 podcast. I'm here at the awesome establishment, Eric Nolans Extreme Martial Arts Training Center, and my guest today is Mr. Eric Nolan himself.
Actually, my wife is Mr. Eric Nolans.
Ah, there we go.
I'm just Eric.
You're racking up brownie points tonight.
Hey, you know what? I'm married to a Mexican woman. I'm terrified
Orale.
most of the time. So,
and my co-host,
Steve Sellers.
you got to get your picture in there. You got to get your
No, I'm
mug in there.
good. No, I'm the shadow knows.
The shadow knows. So today we're live streaming from Instagram because we're having issues connecting to our red camera, to our Facebook stream. So tonight we are going to be streaming from Instagram, and then later on we will be posting video on Facebook and other media.
Yeah, for sure to be on YouTube.
Yes, and so very first thing I want to do is I want to thank you, Eric, for coming on to the Maximus podcast for us.
It is an honor. It's my first podcast.
I really hope people can appreciate you being Eric. I mean, you are the godfather.
Well, locally, we've certainly been around a long time. 33 years in Bakersfield.
I mean, literally, almost every school in this town originates.
Yeah, it is amazing. Pretty much everyone running a martial arts school and other forms of gyms were my students at one time.
Yeah.
Or some of them, like Dan Camarillo, fantastic jiu-jitsu guy, not my student, but he did work for me for several years. So
yeah, and now I'm really barking.
Yeah.
I am barking. Can you turn down? Can you turn down right there? Can you turn down the volume?
Is that me?
Try the other one. One of those are you.
Okay, that was my fat arm.
Okay, can you turn me?
Fat's the operative word. That's what I was going with was fat.
But what I want to do is say thank you because nobody understands this, but when I was struggling trying to move down to LA, pursue my stunt career, working 3 jobs and going to school full time, you allowed me to come run my small, tiny little jiu-jitsu school at your place.
Well, I can say firmly that I've had a lot of guys running jiu-jitsu at my place, and you were a lot of fun to have. You were a lot of fun. Just, because when you were young, you attracted a lot of attractive women who wanted to do martial arts. And I think all the guys at the gym appreciated just watching them walk in and basking in the majesty of your cast-offs. I think that's kind of where we were at.
I'm going to have to swap out the head size over here. I think it's your head might hold up the phone better now.
Oh, what happened? Now we're completely dark. What happened?
Yeah.
Now my volume's gone and
volume.
I can't hear myself. All right, so we thought it's a little more of a challenge to do a on-location podcast than we thought it was going to be.
You know what's embarrassing? Is this the first time I walked into the new building? I can openly admit that. That's embarrassing.
It is massive. Why don't you swing that phone around and look at it. This is the largest martial art facilities in Bakersfield.
Yeah,
hands down.
We're about 12,000 square feet. We have a full weight room. We have a full CrossFit facility.
Yeah, just talk straight into the mic.
We have a full weight room, full CrossFit facility, boxing ring, octagon, 2 training floors. We're very fortunate. We're set up. We have great staff, great students, and 33 years later, we're no longer 1,200 square foot on Chester.
Yeah. Now this, you are a California boy, right? Were you born in Barstow?
I'm a Florida.
Born in Florida.
Yeah, I was born University of Florida, Gainesville. I was born a Gator.
Ah, okay. When did you move to Barstow?
Mom remarried, Dad died, car accident. Mom remarried, guy lived in Barstow, so I went from Paradise to Barstow.
Wow.
Now that was sexy.
And Bakersfield's a paradise compared to Barstow.
I was living in San Diego before I moved here.
Oh, you're in the Marine Corps.
Well, not at that time. I was running a couple gyms for a guy.
Okay.
Who had apparently sold 400 or 500% of the gyms to different individuals. And one day he was gone, and my family was here in Bakersfield.
Yeah.
So I stopped because rent was free there.
Yeah.
And I often tell people I stopped in Bakersfield for 6 months 33 years ago, and we're still here.
Yeah.
But can't seem to leave.
You were in the Marine Corps? Were you in the Marine Corps?
I was a reservist. So
Reservist.
I was a pretend Marine.
Okay.
On the weekend, I had awesome shoes.
You held a record there.
I set the record for the obstacle course that year.
Yeah.
And I was one off the record for pull-ups. I did 62 pull-ups in final.
62.
In final PFT.
That's 60 more than I can do.
I was young, thin, and pretty back then. Okay, I was young and thin back then.
Hey, Steve, I think you got some responses there. You might want to just say hi.
No,
shout
this
out
is
to
just
those
people
guys.
chatting in right now.
Oh,
There's just
okay.
people popping in.
Okay.
Cool.
You'll notice the difference in the colors. The bright white will be a question.
Okay. Hey, Justin, what's going on? Are we okay? What's up? Everything all right? You good? Okay. All right. His crazy look. All right. So you started out on Chester. And how long were you on Chester location?
I was on Chester for about 2.5 years. I think rent was $500 a month, and we got up to about 35 students at that time. And great guys. Everyone there wanted to fight. It was pretty scrappy little group back then on Chester.
Yeah.
And there were, got half a dozen martial arts schools on Chester back then. All of us struggling to get our 50, you know. And,
at that time, that's a big number to have. Is that you got to get to 50. 50 is like you're starting to succeed at 50.
50 was my dream. Oh my God, I wanted 50 so bad. And I attained 35 or 40, and I probably didn't deserve to have that many. I wasn't a very good instructor. I was entertaining myself more than I was helping anybody learn. So what are you gonna do? I was stupid.
Now, you then from there you ended up. What took you to East Bakersfield though?
You know, it was cheap rent. It was, I was on Chester. There was a night we had a little scrap. I got in a scrap with some guys who had come in, and one guy's hit the concrete his head hit the concrete pretty hard in front of kids' class. And I thought, I got to get out of here. This is not a good place to be training families, which was kind of my goal.
Yeah.
And every night was a fight, and which was great because I was young and feisty, and you know, I liked fighting.
Yeah.
And so it was awesome, but it wasn't good for business, and it wasn't good for little kids to see that sort of thing happening. So we got out of there. We moved to East Bakersfield for cheap rent, and it was wonderful for us. You know, there were a lot of families around there, a lot of small houses, older houses from the 50s. And wonderful families and great people. And we had a lot of growth, and we started training a lot more kickboxing. We were doing less traditional martial arts and more kickboxing and Muay Thai, and real successful. We turned out a lot of world champions back then. The sparring was amazing. We had 3 or 4 guys who were all significantly talented pros at 135, and a promoter would call up and say, "Hey man, I've got a fight at 135. I've got $3 grand." And I would just tell the guys, "Who wants it?" And it was sharks.
Yeah, right.
You know, they would beat the hell out of each other. The funniest part of that was I had a girl at 125 who could whoop half of them. And great story. One night, Kathy Long and John Adams were sparring, and John won a world championship at 130 and won at 135, and Kathy won 5 at 122 and 127. Won 5 world titles. And one night they were sparring, and John broke her nose. And Kathy was kind of the cute blonde-haired, blue-eyed. She was a super girl next door, kind of the Ronda Rousey back then.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
When there was no money in being the Ronda Rousey.
Yes.
And so John breaks her nose. And I said, "Kathy, you're out of the ring, man. You're done." She goes, No. I just need another round." She cut him for about 16 stitches right between his eyes. And as soon as the cut happened, she goes, "I'm done." Need him in the face. We're done. I thought, well, I'm glad they're friends.
Wow. Now, what prompted you to move from there to the Southwest?
That's where they keep the money. Why do they rob banks? Because that's where they keep the money. Middle-class families were in the Southwest.
You saw Way of Japan-sized gym and said, "I must."
Way of Japan was the big dog.
That was the
back
massive
then.
gym.
It was about 3,000 square feet.
Shotokan was the biggest organization in martial arts.
Abe
at that
did a
time.
good job, and I think Marcos was still with him back then.
Yeah.
And it was traditional, and they did a good job, and I'm assuming they serviced their clients well because they were really big.
Yeah, and they had a kickboxing program.
Yeah. It was a lot of it was migrating over to me about that point in time, and Abe and I were not real friendly, but we're lovely friends today, and he's a great guy, and he's been wonderful for the sport.
But his school was massive.
It was pretty impressive, and he had a boxing ring. Oh my God!
Yeah.
I had 2 pair of boxing gloves. He had a boxing ring. I lost that one.
Yeah. No, I remember now. That place was that was a. I'm trying to think of other academies that were big.
Oh, that was the big.
Bakersfield.
That was the big dog then. And Hans was perhaps second, I think.
Yeah. That's true.
Hans Taekwondo.
That's true. Yes.
And it was funny because when I first opened my gym, the first week I was open, Abe Bellardo stopped in my gym and told me I wouldn't be open in a year. And I don't know whether, I don't think it was a threat, but it was more of a, well, you're going to be gone. Everyone is.
Everyone started pushing in on his territory.
Yeah.
Gerald opened up next door to him years later after that, and yeah.
It was funny. It felt like the 1970s, your school no good.
I know, right?
So, well, we grow up. The industry has grown up, and it's nice.
But that facilities that you had over there, that was, which is just right down the street from this one, that was a good size.
That was about 7,000 square feet, which I thought was obscene. I had 1,200 square feet on Chester. I moved to the east side. I did 1,500 square feet. We doubled that by knocking out a wall a few years later.
Yeah.
Mostly via punches and kicks. We knocked out the wall. It was a really good time.
Demolition by default.
Yeah, well, it's cheaper than buying a hammer. But we had about 3,000 square feet there, and then when we moved to the southwest, it was over 7,000.
Yeah.
And it was just obscene. I mean,
yeah.
Everyone thought it was mildly retarded, and I probably was.
Did you ever do martial arts, Steve?
Yes.
You just where?
I avoided Eric's. I had a pretty face.
Had to
Pretty.
Where did you do martial arts?
Oh, when I lived in L.A.
Really?
Yeah. Everybody did martial arts in L.A.
What style?
Yeah, everybody did
What
that.
style?
Everybody, went to the YMCA and kicked the bag.
I did YMCA. I did judo at a YMCA in 1964.
Wow.
Oh my God, I'm old.
What they had what was it? Martial arts Kung Fu Saturday was
Kung Fu
when
Saturday.
you lived in L.A. It was literally a TV channel devoted to that.
What year was this?
I don't want to tell my age. I'm Peter Pan.
Well, you had
You
Kung
are
Fu
pretty.
Cinema.
You are damn pretty.
You had Kung Fu Cinema, right? You had Kung Fu Cinema.
It came on
That was on
KCAL
Sundays.
9.
Yeah.
I can still remember KCAL 9. Played football outside. Noon. Everything ended because Bruce Lee came on.
The Stop the Presses, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Now, you were at that location for a long, long time.
Yeah, I was there 21 years.
Wow. Now, I can't remember when you opened up did you take over more of the building and that's how you started your massive kickboxing program?
No, I was
cardio kickboxing?
No, it's funny because that was one of those situations where I was trying to do a favor for a friend.
Yeah.
And it worked out really well for me.
Uh-huh.
We had a girl named Dee Defoe who was world ranked for boxing and kickboxing and a crazy, fabulous human being. And Dee was trying to pick up a couple extra dollars, and she said, I want to make a little money, and is there anything I can do around here to make some money? And I said, you know what, we got that little room upstairs, it's about 600 square foot, little room upstairs, which was storage basically. And I think the ceiling was maybe 6.5, 7 foot high.
Yeah.
And I said, we'll hang a few bags up there, and you can do a fitness kickboxing class with the moms. We'll do it 2-3 times a week, and we'll hang 4 or 5 bags. I think we hung 10. In the first class, like a dozen people showed up.
Yeah.
So I ran down to L.A. and I bought 4 more bags.
Yeah.
And the second class, like 17, 18 people showed up. Well, so I ran down to L.A. and I bought
Got
more bags. and at one point in time, we had like 24 people in this little 600 square foot.
Oh my God.
Oh, it was 1,000 degrees.
room.
It was horrible. Insulation falling down off the ceiling. It was just the worst thing ever. And we had a weight room down in a separate room. And we finally decided the kickboxing was growing. The first class, was overflowing. The second class was overflowing. So we decided we'll do it, 4 days a week, then 5 days a week. Then we'll do it twice a day, then 3 times a day. Then we do 5 times a day now.
Yeah.
And
Oh
they're
no! But
packed.
you even at that place you had all these. It was I don't know what was the bag count over there.
At one point in time, we got up to 30. We started with,
and that was 2 people per bag.
So frequently.
So you're looking at 40 to 60 people.
It's not unusual for us to get big numbers. We had a young lady come in here the other day. She goes, I love the class. It would be better if it was smaller. And I said, no, if it was worse, it would be smaller.
If it was worse.
It can't be better by being worse. That doesn't make sense. You're telling me that people really like the class, so obviously it's not good enough. Okay, well, cool.
Now you finally come to this location. How long have you been here?
2 years here, 2.5 years here.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. I mean, it's really a dream. This sort of thing didn't even exist on Earth when I started doing martial arts.
Yeah.
No.
There was no place on the planet you could come and find something like this. But the industry's grown through, Dana White and UFC and the popularity of it. When my dentist started wearing a tap-out shirt 15 years ago,
Aha moment.
I realized, oh, this is going to be big.
This is good. Well, but it's you've always been involved in the full contact aspect of martial arts.
Yeah,
I think that's what kept you evolving.
We were very physical. When I first opened my gym, I didn't intend to open a gym. I'd moved to Bakersfield, and I was here because rent was cheap. It was free. and my family was here. And I thought, well, I'd always done martial arts, one place or another. So I went around to all the local schools to find where am I going to train while I'm here. And the schools were more traditional karate and point fighting, and that just wasn't my thing. You know, I mean, good or bad, just not my flavor. You know. And I just thought, well, I'll open a little gym. And my thought was, I'll create 10 or 15 thugs that I can work out with. And we can hit each other in the face a lot and just have a great time, you know. And again, my goal when I opened my gym was to knock out every guy and kiss every girl that came in. And
Good life goals.
you know,
Good life goals.
Simple but effective.
Yes.
I did okay back then, to be honest with you. But I was very poor and very angry, so it wasn't a good move.
Now, so one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the podcast was because the, MMA has exploded, and we've all been around since the groundwork of it. So the process of literally seeing the UFC and deciding I want to become an MMA fighter, to the moment you step into an academy such as yours.
You know what? I'm gonna jump in before Eric takes off.
Yeah.
I see it coming. Before he takes off, it's kind of like when I did my little YMCA karate and I got in my first real fight, and none of that crap worked. And I promptly went and started joining the boxing studio.
Well, you know, that works. That works
Yes.
really, really well.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of martial arts is not going to get you there.
I'll be
just,
right back.
Just not. I love you, miss you. Bye bye. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I was standing there in my little perfect little horse stance and threw some flying kicks, and
a horse stance did not work.
no,
in a self-defense situation.
did not work.
Did you bow in first?
I might have.
That's
I had karate shoes on back then too.
You know, it's funny because you go back in the 70s and stuff like that. When I would buy a pair of pants, I would make sure I could kick in them. I mean, I would be
those Chuck Norris jeans.
I had those. I had each with the gusset sewn in.
Yes.
Yeah, that was because you're often doing spinning hook kicks when you're in a self-defense situation in a small nightclub.
Yes.
Like that.
No, they
so
work.
a lot of room for that.
Yeah.
Now, do 22-inch arms work in a self-defense situation pretty much?
You know what? They're great self-defense.
Yeah, people just leave you alone.
Perfect world.
People say, not going to do that.
Yeah. Not today.
Wisdom.
And it sucks because I'm better now than I was then.
Yeah.
Keep telling yourself that.
Yeah. Okay. So the process.
That's what she says.
the process of going from couch to the ring to the octagon or to any MMA organization.
Well,
some of the steps.
First, let me say that the bar has raised so much over the years. You know, the early UFC is not taking anything away from Hoist Gracie and those guys, but they just were not the rounded quality athletes that you see today. I mean, it's just the bar's come up. You know, it's just, these are now professional athletes who are exceedingly well trained, exceedingly well conditioned, who sacrifice every day. And the biggest thing that I have to do when someone comes in and says, hey, man, I want to be a fighter, is I have to find a way to let them understand the sacrifice and the amount of work and the pain that they're going to have to go through. You know, and it's like, well, I had a kid the other day who's an undefeated fighter, and it was a training session. He said, well, I got to go get a haircut.
You got to do it for the gram.
Yeah.
You got to do it for the gram.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful kid, just and a great fighter. But you got to sacrifice people. But, okay, so someone comes in, and they say, I want to be an MMA fighter. First thing I have to do is find out what I'm dealing with. You know, there's different qualities. We were talking earlier about how it's easy to train tough guys.
Yeah.
If you don't start out at least a marginally tough guy, the odds of you being a successful professional high-level MMA fighter really low.
Yeah.
Everybody has a plan. Do they get punched in the mouth?
Yeah. Exactly. Well,
yeah.
I think someone said that before.
I'll tell you one thing too though is getting punched to the body, getting the legs,
kicked
and all
in
that.
the legs.
But
oh my
there
God.
is something though about getting hit in the face.
It's personal.
That separates the men from the boys.
But you know what? I like that. I will tell you, and maybe that's why I do what I do, right? But I've always said the most honest relationship in the world is the one you have in a boxing ring.
Yeah.
And of course that goes to MMA cage because, you know, you think you know what your girlfriend's thinking about you.
Yeah.
But when you get in a ring and someone hits you in the face as hard as they can, you understand the nature of your relationship
real quick
on such a basic and pure level. It's just so damn honest that you can kind of enjoy that. I mean, if you've been a fighter, there's been a time when you've gotten hit in the face and you've gone, Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's on.
Yeah,
It's on.
yeah.
And that's a lovely thing. And the neat thing is that now people have a way that they can express that's socially acceptable.
Yeah.
And hopefully minimizing injuries and maximizing friendship afterwards.
Yeah.
But okay, so someone comes in, they say, "Hey, Eric, I want to be a fighter. I'm going to look at them. I'm going to look at their height, their weight. I'm going to look at their muscularity, their morphology. I'm going to get a sense for what's going on. I want to find out if they've trained before. Have you wrestled? Have you done traditional martial arts, which you're going to have to let go of most of?
Yeah.
But at least the discipline, the flexibility, the conditioning will be beneficial for us. Have you done jiu-jitsu? What have you done here and there? And the neat thing is, in California, they started camo not too long ago.
Yeah. Is that still going on? Is it still working?
Going on.
I see posts.
So much better run than it used to be. It's so much better run. The neat thing is, in the old days, if you wanted to be an MMA fighter, you pretty much had the UFC.
Yeah.
Or some cheesy Indian casino.
Yeah.
Not that all of them are cheesy, because there's some great shows.
No,
Tachi Palace is amazing.
The cheesy promotions
Yes,
at the casinos at that time.
Well, I remember when they would take guys out of the audience,
Yeah.
This guy can't fight. Who wants to earn $50?
Yeah, right.
And
yes.
they'd have a drunk guy come down and get knocked way out. And I remember one time waiting to go out with a guy to fight, and they had picked a guy out of the audience, and the guy got in the cage. And moments later, they're carrying him out on a stretcher, and he's curled up in a fetal position with his fingers and toes clenched, and he's yelling, "My neck, my neck!" And I just thought, they probably should have let that fight happen. That was probably an error in judgment, and there was no kindness going on there. But, okay, so a guy comes in, he starts training. Please understand, even if you want to be an amateur fighter, this is not going to your local karate school and standing in a horse stance. And wearing jammies. It's not that. It's just not. You're going to have to sacrifice, and you're going to have to go beyond your comfort zone. Everyone I get either thinks they're a striker or thinks they're a grappler, and they don't understand that. No, you have to be both.
Yeah.
Gone are the early days of MMA when you could be just a jiu-jitsu guy or just a striker or just a this or just a that.
Yeah.
These guys are so well trained, even on an amateur level.
Oh yeah.
You've got guys fighting amateur shows that are certainly more rounded than 90% of early UFC guys.
MMA is evolving into its own.
Yeah,
what were you going to say, Steve?
The average amateur would walk anybody in the first UFCs, the first 1, 2, and 3s.
Yeah, I mean, the top
For
level.
the most part.
Obviously, Ken Shamrock and Hoist Gracie knew how to fight a little bit, and Dan Severn was a good wrestler. But yeah, most of those guys were not good.
Yes.
I mean, they just were not good. And I will tell you that the female color commentator for the first one was one of my students and my girlfriend for 12 years, Kathy Long.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me wonderful stories about deals that were being made in the back room before that thing. The guys now, I mean, if you look at a good amateur heavyweight,
Yeah.
If they wouldn't dominate, they certainly would not be humiliated.
Yeah.
By the best guys in the world back then.
Yeah.
They weren't that good. You got the early guys like Frank and Ken Shamrock who became more rounded. They could box a little, they could kick a little, they could wrestle a little, they could submit a little, and they had some defense for those things.
I always felt that Frank Shamrock was the messenger for the new era.
You're exactly correct.
He trained like a mixed martial artist. He dieted. He dropped weight. He cross trained. He wasn't a specialist, and he had his overall game at that time was very solid. And just when he stepped into the octagon, he was different than everyone else before him.
Absolutely, he was a message of what's
He was like the blueprint. Yeah, and literally after that, all the fighters changed after that. But getting back to it, so they come into your gym. Now I'm big, and I'm pretty sure you're the same way. I'm big. Anybody who comes in before, it doesn't matter how they want to compete. I always tell them you need to compete inside the academy first.
Oh yeah.
Because that's where you're gonna have the least amount of anxiety to perform.
Well, I tell that when it takes 100 rounds to find out how bad you are.
Yeah.
And it really does. And people, I get people all the time who train at other gyms and they've had a fight or 2 or 3 and they've sparred less than 20 rounds in their life. And it's like, I really do insist on 100 rounds before I would even consider booking you for an amateur fight.
Yeah.
Because my job as a trainer, if I'm any good, is to make sure you're successful, safe, and you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Whether you go to UFC or not, if you can get out there and compete, you can do it. I've had guys come in who are 45 years old. It's like, I just want to do one amateur fight. Well, give me 2 years and train hard, and we'll get you there. And you're probably not going to get hurt, and you may even win. 2 years ago, we had 21 fights. We won 21 of them.
Yeah.
And we stopped 19 of them. So we do win a lot of fights.
Yeah. That's good, right?
No. You're not going to be a weenie coming out of here.
No, we're real.
No Pop-Tarts.
Well, we're real lucky. We have great guys and girls in here. And speaking of girls, by the way, they're more fun to train because I always say guys try to do it hard, girls try to do it right.
Yeah.
And I think that applies to many things.
I can see that happening a lot.
Oh yeah, because guys have their ego involved in it. The girls
my goodness,
the girls
yes.
just don't want to get unnecessarily hurt. They want to be as smart as they can. They want their technique tight.
You hit the nail on the head though about that was one of my biggest pet peeves is I seen that happen way too much that either fighters or competitors they're just fed to the sharks way too soon.
But a lot of times that's the fighter's fault. And there are trainers that do that regularly, and I'm not going to mention names, but I wish they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't help the sport. It certainly doesn't help these individuals, right?
Yeah.
But
I guess you
get
stop
guys
them,
in here. I have fighters in here who are pretty experienced guys with a half a dozen fights. Will say, "Hey, man, they want me to fight this guy. What do you think?" Well, let's see. He's 20 pounds larger than you are. He's got a lot more experience. He was a D1 wrestler. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And you're an okay kickboxer. I don't know. Why are you bringing that to me? Why are you putting me in a position where I have to hurt your feeling? Yeah, I got a great kick. Super. You know? So sometimes it's the fighters begging the promoters. And I'll have guys who come in here who I've never seen before who'll tell me. I had a guy come in the other day, and it was hard to get him sparring because his ankle monitor got in the way of the shin guards. True story. Lots of ink on his face. Very muscular, very fit guy. And he just gotten out of doing a little
Vacation time.
Yep.
Yeah, a little vacation.
Yeah.
I'm on the state.
Good.
The state put him up. It was
State vacation.
Yeah,
Federal vacation.
Bunch of guys got together.
Free
This
food.
was state, not
Yeah.
fed. So
Okay.
It was
Okay.
uglier.
All right.
But he came in and he wanted. I've got a fight booked, and this guy booked me. I lift weights
Fight
at this
booked.
gym, and this guy booked me to do this fight. And I told him, "You don't know how to fight." And he goes, "Well, he beats people up." I said, "Beating up drunks in a bar, not that hard. They're drunks.
Yeah.
And they're in a bar.
Yeah.
The odds that they've been jumping rope, working the bag, working their double legs, getting their arm bars, getting their defense, learning how to throw a nice hook off a jab, very slim.
Yeah.
You're probably not running into that guy, in downtown Bakersfield at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But I put him in the ring with a kid, very nice kid, who was a little smaller than he was. And about 10 seconds into it, I told the kid, "Hey, man, just use your left hand."
Oh.
Because he was hurting the guy. Well, he stopped the guy with his left hand about 20 seconds later.
Yeah.
And then the guy's angry. And he said, "I could have gone harder. I could have gone harder." I said, he used one hand.
Yeah.
And he knocked you out.
Yeah.
So you don't need to fight. He went ahead and did the fight anyway. He lost, of course.
Yeah, of course.
It didn't
But
get
he
hurt
looked
too
good.
badly.
He probably had a lot of people cheering for him.
Great
'cause
abs.
Yeah,
I'd
right?
love to have those abs.
But it doesn't. It's so awesome because it all goes back to the kung fu cinema where the young monk walks in and I want to go to the highest level, and they take him to the 12th level and he can't do any of it, and he gets humbled and he has to start back at level 1.
Every guy thinks he can make love like an adult entertainer.
Yeah.
I'm cleaning up my language here.
You don't have to.
Drive a car like a race car driver.
Yeah.
And fight like an MMA champion.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time I can't drive a race car.
Yeah.
But you own one.
Yeah, I drive it. I'm kind of suck at all of them now. But every guy, his ego thinks he can do. He can drink.
Yeah.
He can fight.
Yeah.
He can make love, and he can drive. Every guy thinks he can, and these are skills, except for the drinking. But even I'm assuming that has to be developed to some degree.
Yeah.
I'm not a drinker.
But there is a technique, and that's the one thing is there's a technique and a skill set involved. There's after a certain level, you can get up, you can show up, and maybe your natural talent and strength can overcome a certain skill level. But after a certain point, that extra strength, the extra size, the extra aggression.
Well, the further you go up, everybody's an All-American.
Right. I mean, no one got there on accident.
Yeah. But you just got guys who. What I always tell people is you have to realize that at least 4 days a week, I am training hard. I'm getting my butt kicked. I am fighting. I am honing my weapon. I am on point. And
are we talking about making love or fighting? I just want to make sure because my wife's kind of a fan of yours. That's all I'm saying.
It always sucks when somebody knows you because they just pull out all the stuff in the closet. They can open up that. It's just like
4 days a week, man. I don't have nearly that much energy for either one.
So wrong.
Yeah, but with today's modern era, the modern Instagram era, it's the youngsters want it now, and that's how these promoters are making a living. Like you, just getting somebody to come in because I need to charge $10 at the gate.
Well, yeah, it's a pimps and horse situation. A promoter is not. And there are some promoters who have a lot of integrity.
Yeah.
But there are many who do not.
Yes.
And the job of a promoter is to have some kind of show, and a bad show is about as good as a good show for a low end show.
Bottom line,
people wait in NASCAR for somebody to wreck.
Yeah.
Right. And many of these fights, the worst fights, the least skilled fighters are the wrecks.
Yes.
You watch the guy come out and get destroyed. And it's it's entertainment. I mean we've all seen it, whether in high school or in a bar or here or there.
All right. So what organizations do they have? Like they come to your school, they get their 100 rounds in, and now they're ready to.
We'll get them go with Camo. We work a lot with Jeremy at 559 Fights. Good promoter, prolific promoter.
Okay.
Although like all promoters, he's interested in having a show more than he is, looking out for necessarily exactly where my guys are. But he's an honest guy.
Yeah.
Which is rare because promoters are liars. He's an honest guy. Well, not all, obviously, but it's a pimps and hoes situation.
Yeah,
right?
it's.
Don King didn't get a nice car for no reason.
Does Don have a car?
Well, not anymore, but.
No.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he is. Don's around. Don was he was out there pimping.
I figured Mike Tyson go out there and pick him out.
No, man, he was on the Trump campaign.
Wow.
So yeah, only in America.
Only in America.
But I love fighting with Jeremy because he does a lot of shows and he's going to be fair, and he's going to keep the guys working. And
now these are amateur level 559.
Amateur level fights 559. And for my money in this part of the state, they're just really good.
And Camo.
Camo's the sanctioning body. It's the organization which through the state sanctions it.
Yes.
So anybody you're dealing with is going to have to deal with Camo if they're doing amateur shows in California.
Got it.
Except Indian reservations, because that's kind of not California on account of we stole their country.
Now does yeah, that could be another great podcast. Woo! We can do that one nationally. But the reservations are independent with each other, right? Like
it's different. They're, like Tachi Palace is doing everything with the commission now.
Yes.
They're doing everything above board. They're doing it tight. They're doing it right. But they're a very slick act.
Yes.
I mean, for Indian Casino,
good show.
Oh, they put on great fights. And again, honest promoter.
And consistent. They put on fights regularly.
Well, not only regularly, but I've never seen a bad card there.
Is that pro or amateur?
A pro, pretty much exclusively.
Okay, so
I mean, they've done an amateur fight here and there, but no, it's pros.
So 559 Camo at that level, and then you're going to jump up to Tachi level?
Then you're going to go up, well, you hope to go to Tachi, but probably not. Tachi's probably not going to, we just had a guy who went straight from amateurs to his first pro fight was at Tachi.
Okay.
But that was because he won 3 titles at amateur. He was undefeated at amateur.
Yeah.
He had better than a dozen 1-minute stoppages.
Good abs and tattoos.
No, not a single ab, not a single tattoo. He looks like Justin Bieber. And getting your butt kicked by someone who looks like Justin Bieber is embarrassing.
Hey, those sleepers are the ones. Yeah, Steve, what were you going to say?
I'm just going to wait till he walks in the store next time to call him Justin.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But doesn't he know?
Yes. Oh.
Those are the guys you got to look out for, right?
He's just a little pretty boy. And he just...
You should have him walk out to that next time.
He doesn't look like
No.
much.
How many guys have you seen blow off fighters? Because, look at that guy. Maybe a little heavy, a little soft, a little Gumby looking. And that guy, he ain't got nothing,
Larry Holmes was heavyweight champ of the world for 9 years with a pot belly.
Right.
And Chuck Liddell seldom wore size 28 jeans. And he hit really hard.
But he had the mohawk, though. The mohawk made a lot of intimidation factors.
The sad thing is I've seen Chuck in his birthday suit.
Yeah.
I promoted.
It's not that kind of show, Steve.
I know, but I just like when he dies like this.
Stop.
Yeah, he's right.
I promoted Chuck's last 4 kickboxing matches before he went over to MMA, and he never looked like he was going to do what he did. But that guy loves to fight.
Never looked in shape, right? Never looked like a cardio machine.
But
he wasn't. When you saw him, you said, okay, he could be in shape.
I was promoting him at heavy. He was coming in 230, 240.
Oh God!
So he was, but
they really walk around.
He was making no money.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, I was paying him $500 a fight. I'm a way better businessman than Dana White. I got Chuck Liddell for $500 a fight. 4 times. I win. Dana, I'm just kidding. Please give me money.
I know. Please sign his fighters.
Dana watches this a lot, so I'm sure.
But we got, I wish that'd be nice. But we got just, and this is also for everyone who's any martial arts thinking about doing MMA. It's so hard to really kind of get a groundwork of how to progress. So you join an academy, get your rounds in, get some good training. Then you go into, you can camo 559.
Yeah, amateur fights. You want to do at least a half a dozen amateur fights. I mean, okay, if you're a world-class wrestler, a world-class jiu-jitsu guy, or let's take out world. If you're a state level wrestler, collegiate wrestler, a state level jiu-jitsu guy, if you're a really good boxer or Muay Thai fighter, you can streamline a little bit, you know. But
see,
really,
you're bringing up something too that you're already talking like a coach, because you're like, it doesn't matter how fast you progress, there's still that time frame that you kind of need under your belt. Yeah, that's great that you knock out 3 or 4 guys, you submit them real fast. Actually, it's kind of better if you struggle a little bit and have some ones that go the distance.
I love for guys coming up, I love it when they go the distance.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I fear a guy who's got a whole lot of unanimous decisions more than I fear a guy with a few fast knockouts.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't know what's going on. You know what makes me really nervous with one of my guys on their first fight is if the coach says, or if the promoter says, hey, I got this other guy, it's his first fight. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's an unknown.
I'd rather you had 3 fights.
Yeah, you don't want to fight unknowns.
I can look at that equation and go, oh, because this kid it may be his first fight, and he may have been, you know, a really good wrestler.
Yeah.
He may have been a really good judo player. He may have been. He may have done something. He may have fought. You know, he may have been a Golden Gloves fighter out of Philly.
Yeah.
But that's just you taking care of your fighter.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to take care of their fighter.
Well, a lot don't know
It's tough to control them too. It's hard to control.
That's true.
No, I mean, ego. Go back to the ego thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
it's just the fact that you're saying, I want to take care of my fighter.
Now, is there other casino? Is King of the Cage still around?
King of the Cage is around. They do a lot of shows. They're not. They used to. King of the Cage and their subsidiary Gladiator Challenge used to promote at Porterville.
Yeah.
At Eagle Mountain a lot. They since Eagle Mountain cut ties with them.
Yeah.
And Lauren is now promoting through their. I think it's called Warriors Cage.
Okay.
It's a much lower end pro show.
But these are all pro.
Yeah, they're pro fights.
They're all pro fights.
In the loosest sense. I mean, it's still not unheard of to bring in guys with fundamentally no training. We'll get a call to fight a guy who's what they refer to as an independent fighter, which means garage or backyard or something like this.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to go from being a backyard pro wrestler to WWE, so you're probably not going to make this
What was the
trip.
black guy that...
The black guy.
That
one. Hang on.
Obama.
Was that Obama?
No, he gave me back taxes. He was the one that was knocking everybody. YouTube sensation.
Kimbo Slice.
Kimbo, yeah.
Kimbo Slice.
The rest of his soul too. Very nice guy.
No,
awesome
nothing bad to
cook.
say about him, but
He's
what
dead,
Eric was
though. He
saying.
died.
You watch his YouTube fights and you're waiting. Oh my God, this dude's gonna step in the cage and just be a monster.
Yeah. Well, he was for a couple fights.
Well, yeah. I mean, he was okay against the right guys. But I always talk
Good
about
matchmaking.
Kimbo reminds me of the concept of weighing the pros and cons of fighting. Just because you've been knocking out the cons doesn't mean you're ready for the pros.
Yeah. That's a good But okay. But let's get through this year. So we got Camo.
Okay.
We got 559.
Do some amateur fights. Then you're gonna probably fight some small shows. Now many of them are Indian casinos.
Yes.
But many of them are not. They're great promoters down south. They're Orange County fights. They're doing great fights, and there's a nice place to get your feet wet and what have you. But there are promoters all over the state. The neat thing is, if you go to the California State Athletic Commission's website, you can find out who's doing shows. You can find out who the promoter is. You can find out who the matchmaker is. You can reach out and touch them.
It's all public now. Because when I was helping T. Ortiz and training with him, literally we would go to fights where he would fight, and it's like, okay, hide all your gear. Don't look like you're an MMA fighter. We're going into this high school basketball court, and we're gonna fight, but the cops are outside. And we know what you're doing in there. We can't go in there and get you. But if there's any hint of what you're doing outside, we're gonna arrest you.
Right.
It was crazy. And this is like, okay, if the cops come, grab my bag.
Well,
or make sure you get the money from the promoter. You know.
Just last year they okayed MMA in New York City in New York
Right.
State. I mean, it's
Right.
It,
How
it, it was
crazy is
still
that?
it was still an outlaw blood sport in the biggest city in the
Madison
country.
Square Garden finally had fights.
So
MMA
yeah,
fights.
I mean, what are you gonna do with that?
Now, okay, so you get
So you
hit
get them some low-level fights. You go from there, and again, I want to do 3, 4, 5 fights, and depending on the level of opposition, just because you beat 7 or 8 guys in a row.
Yeah.
We were looking at a guy we were going to fight the other day. One of my guys who was 1-0 as a pro.
Yeah.
And I think he was like 5-1 as an amateur. We were getting ready to fight a guy, and he had like 11, 12 fights, but one of the guys he had beaten was 0-15, 0 wins, 15 losses.
Don't they call that a tomato can?
I don't know what they call that, but that is an optimist, man. And by the way, 13 of his fights were first-round stoppages. And how do you get up and go?
How do you keep your
number
license
15 is
like
going to be
that?
magic. Well, again, Indian reservation fights, stuff like that.
Okay.
And this was an Indian reservation fight.
Yeah.
So depending on the level of the opposition, who are you beating? Who are you not beating?
Yeah.
And even in your losses, how do you look?
Yeah.
What do we need to work on? Can we plug the holes in that game? Where is your weakness? Because everyone's got a weakness. Conor McGregor really, 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 really needs to work on his takedown D.
Yeah.
Although his takedown D seems to be, I'm going to hit you really hard, and you're going to go to sleep. And that's a pretty good plan if it works, I don't think it's going to work with Floyd, unfortunately.
I know.
Because I'd love to see him knock out Floyd. And I love Floyd. I've met him before. A really sweet guy.
Oh, before we get into that, though, let's finish this up. So, all right, so you do now. So.
And by the way, management. I'm not a manager. In the past, I would manage people in kickboxing.
Yeah.
I knew everybody in the sport. It was very easy for me to do. People knew to call me. I knew to call them. It was a smaller world. MMA is huge.
Yeah.
And I'm not a manager. Again, we use Jeremy quite a bit with 559 Fights. He manages a lot of my guys.
Okay.
He's very well connected. Iridium Sports, they put a lot of guys in UFC.
Okay.
But if you can have someone like that on your side, and I will tell you what he tells me all the time, and he's so right, be at weight all the time.
Yeah.
Be in shape all the time.
Yeah.
Have your license all the time.
Yeah.
Have your passport all the time. Because you're 3 or 4 fights in, and Dana White calls you up and says, hey, man, can you do this
You just
fight?
never know.
And you're out of shape, and your blood work isn't current, and it's, blah, blah, blah. Yes.
So what is that? Is that for the
sure.
licensing?
You must have
is
your blood
that
work done to fight
annually?
as an amateur or as a pro. Yes, annually. And let's say you do your blood work in California, and it varies. So I'm giving you
That's okay.
My version of the latest iteration. Let's say you get your license in California in January, and then you get a call to fight in Nevada in February. Well, your blood work's still going to carry over because it's within 6 months.
Got it.
But if I get a license in California, it's going to carry me for a year. So that blood work is good in California for a year.
Yeah.
But if I go to another state, they may require additional blood work.
Yeah.
And that's okay because they're protecting the fighter. It's the last thing you want to do. You go out there, you're putting your life on the line by allowing someone to punch, kick,
Oh yeah.
knee you, and lay lovingly in your guard.
Yeah. Bleed on you.
So it would be, and if you're doing it right, they're bleeding. If you're doing your job, pretty good chance fluids will be swapped, and not in the fun way. Although how people
now is the jump? Is there a big jump from after you get to the casino level? If you get to Tachi Palace, you can really easily go into something like Tachi Palace. Joe Soto. I watched Joe Soto fight one night at Tachi Palace. Yeah. And less than 2 weeks later, he was fighting T.J. Dillashaw for the championship of the world. Wow. He stayed in shape after the fight. Yeah. He didn't go out and beard up, and he had the opportunity. Joe Soto is still in the UFC. Yeah. He lost a couple fights. He's won a couple fights, but he's a scrapper. He stays in shape. He's ready. And when Dana calls him, he knows. So it's not a giant jump from there. There are other feeder organizations around California. Again, I'm not a manager. Yeah. I'm a trainer. But what else is there? And then after that, you're in the pro level. You got Bellator now. Scott Coker, smartest guy in what an opportunity, though. You think about it. It has a chance to take over the MMA world.
There was a point in time, many years ago, where I was the second most successful amateur kickboxing promoter in California. Scott Coker was at that time the most successful amateur. Scott now runs Bellator, and I teach martial arts in Baker. So if you want to know who's smart, it's not me, it's Scott. Such a smart guy, and again, talk about promoters with integrity. Yeah, he's gold. Yeah, if Scott says it, it's gold. Yeah, And again, I will never mention the promoters who don't have integrity.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for that
Yeah.
guy, and he's so smart.
What else is there besides the UFC and Bellator? What other?
Well, World Series of Fighting just changed to something
World
else last week.
Series,
But, Bellator, what people don't realize is Bellator has way more money than UFC. Bellator is Viacom. And that's where they keep the real money, CBS and Showtime and everything like that.
Their whole thing is they're going to pay their fighters more.
Yeah, well, and the neat thing is that happens in UFC. I remember 4 or 5 years ago, people fight UFC and maybe guys way down low on the card maybe get $2 grand, $3 grand.
Yeah.
And there were cocktail waitresses that night made $5 grand.
Yeah.
And they got hit very little.
The money they got hit very little.
Maybe hit on, but not hit. But no, Bellator's bringing it up, and that's great.
Yeah.
And of course now the international market is getting big. China is going to be the next big market. Right now the Chinese are mostly only fighting Chinese.
Yeah,
Well, they sold the Pride organization, and they just kind of.
Well, yeah, Pride was Japanese.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the UFC owns that.
Okay, yeah, but it seemed like it was a really big thing over in
Japan.
In Japan.
Oh yeah.
There were some corruption issues.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
fun.
I didn't say it was.
It's funny that the fighting industry has something to do with organized crime sometime. I mean, I
Go figure.
shocked.
Yeah.
The Fertitta brothers.
Well,
God
there's
bless
also
them,
one. There's also the one organization. Was it?
Yes,
In starting out in either in Thailand or something like that. I can't remember what the originating country is.
And
but it's in
again,
Asia.
I'm not a manager, so I'm not dealing with that too much. But and it's an international sport. The neat thing is, any country in the world, we can understand. I'm going to kick that guy's ass.
Yeah.
Because we all know that guy.
Yeah.
And again, every guy can relate to it. I mean, I cannot. When I watch American Ninja Warrior, I no longer can relate to that.
Yeah.
But if a guy can relate to it and go, I've done something like that in junior high school. I got in a fight one time and I was awesome.
Yeah.
Then you can sell it, and I think it's going to be the biggest sport in the world if it's not careful.
Yeah. As long as it's run correctly, there is a massive market for it, and it's probably the closest you're going to get to test your martial skills on one-on-one combat without killing each other and losing eyeballs and maiming each other.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Absolutely.
Before it used to be wrestling, because that was literally just this is it, man against man. Who's going to dominate the other?
Well, I mean, you had wrestling, but you had Muay Thai, you had boxing.
Yeah. Striking. But
but
they were all the one dimensional aspect of it: boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai,
wrestling,
judo, jiu-jitsu, and you had the Valley too, though, and in Brazil and stuff and whatnot, and it just really and maybe there were underground kumites, maybe there wasn't.
Well,
all this other
there
stuff.
Was something. How good it was.
Yeah, but now you have it. You actually have a place where if you want to be a martial artist, and it's so crazy, right? If you think about it, the opening scene of Enter the Dragon, right?
Right.
Bruce Lee in his Jeet Kune Do gloves and tights was the epitome of the modern MMA fighter.
Bruce needed to do squats.
Yeah.
By the way, in those tights. Bruce absolutely needed some squats, I'm thinking.
Notice that he never shot photos without.
Yeah, he was a fit guy, but for God's sake, he needed some deep squats with heavy weight.
But think about that. Think about that. Watching that scene shot in the mid '70s, and thank you. Yeah, they're playing music on that. But think about that. That here he was, and they what he looked like, and how he was fighting.
Right.
Takedowns, throws, arm bars, everything like that.
He tried to revolutionize it when he came in, and there was the big kickback against him.
That scene though, fast forward 40-something years later, is the epitome of cutting-edge MMA.
If you look at his overriding philosophy, which is absorb what is useful, reject what is useless, and add what is specifically your own.
Yeah, that's MMA.
GSP kind of followed that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he won a couple.
I know. I'll be back. Don't worry. I'll take care of you.
GSP Bisping. Who do you got if they fight?
You know what? I have to go with GSP.
I was leaning towards Bisping, but I've heard a lot of guys talking about GSP's fighting game. Apparently, he's been training the whole time he's been gone.
Yeah.
And his striking game, apparently is worlds beyond where it was.
Yeah.
If he's got his defense up, I mean, Bisping's not a giant hitter, but if you look at who he's been beating the last few years, he's beaten a lot of good fighters.
He's turned the page.
That he should have lost to.
He's
that we would
turned the
have theorized.
page.
Yes.
He really, I've never met him, and so just from watching him, he's, you know what? I think what people don't give him respect for is his work ethic and dedication, because that motherfucker he won't stop.
No,
He won't stop.
No matter how many times people told him you don't hit hard enough, you're not big enough, your
Yeah,
ground game's not good enough, he hung in there.
Yeah.
You know, when you've got that
And
nose, you paid your dues.
He stuck it out, because this was a good thing I was going to bring up while we're on the top. And we've seen this throughout our lives. How many people get devastated by their first loss? Whether it's knockout, whether it's by points or by submission. Coming back from that that really is a turning point. Also, talk about like you get hit in the face. First time you get hit in the face, you go, oh, no, or yeah. Let's get it. Let's get some.
You're gonna have one of those reactions.
Yeah.
Almost,
But the other one is the loss.
right.
Like the first time you ever get knocked out.
Look at
or
when
like that.
McGregor lost to Diaz.
Yeah.
You know, I mean.
That's a defining moment right there.
Well, and that he came back and stayed focused and on point.
Yeah.
Throughout a grueling and difficult rematch.
Very humiliating. Very
bad
very,
loss.
very hard loss. Not humiliating like oh yeah, you asshole, but just that's a loss where you get very humbled.
You know, I mean, I think we all saw that he kind of gave up. He was like, he was tired. He started trying to walk. First round, he was effective.
Hey.
He used good defense. He was effective. He was pot shotting. He was doing a good job. Second round, he started believing his hype. Thought, I'm just going to walk him down and knock him out. Tried walking him down. You don't walk down Diaz. He hits hard.
Oh yeah,
and
he'll survive.
And he'll rock him.
He will survive.
And so he tried to walk him down, and he found out, oh well, you know, my will is pretty good, but my chin is
than
not.
I thought he is.
And that shot that he tried. First of all, he's trying a shot against.
Yeah.
A significantly more qualified grappler.
And bigger. Obviously bigger.
And he tried a shot completely out of gas because he was just tired of getting hit in the face. Yeah. But to like you say, not get beaten by it, to take the loss and say, I'm going to come back better. I know what I'm up against. It's monumental.
Yeah.
And I will be man enough to do that.
Yeah, he turned that page.
All the love.
Yeah, he became back a better fighter. But you brought up an interesting point, too, because I remember when I was watching, the reason why I refer back to Frank Shamrock's fight is because I helped Tito train for his fight against Frank Shamrock.
Right.
And so I really followed, because I was really seeing, like, you know, this guy, man, he's doing something different that had been going on in martial arts. And you could tell, like, he did the whole, I have a training camp. Right. I am dedicated. His phone would answer with phrases, you know, I'm going to beat Tito up. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And, you know, Tito was a young, up-and-coming kid.
That just doesn't sound sweet.
Yeah, you know? I know. So I was watching, I was going, man, this fucking guy's serious. Like, he's got, one thing he said that really stood out was, I make my conditioning a weapon.
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand that when you gas, like if you have not prepared, I don't care how tough you are, I don't care how skilled you are, you know, in jiu-jitsu, when there's no striking, you can rope a dope and stuff, but when you get taken down, you can get kneed, you can get elbowed, you can get submit. There's just nowhere to hide once you get tired.
Well, yeah, it's funny because there's times in fights when I'll be watching the other guy and I'll see his mind change.
Oh, yeah.
I'll see him going from predator to, when is that bell going to ring?
Yeah. And the infamous.
As soon as he thinks that, he's getting
looking at the clock. Oh, yeah.
And I love that moment when you can take them from predator and turn them into frustrated participant.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so. And that's what Diaz did to Conor in the first fight.
Yeah.
Halfway through that second round, Conor quit being a predator, and he was a frustrated participant.
Yeah.
I've hit him with everything. He's still there. I got nothing left in the tank.
Yep.
And, you know, we talked earlier about when you get hit in the face, and I was like, I got that. That same guy, tired, gets hit in the face, goes, oh, shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's because I didn't mind getting hit in the face any as a youth.
Yeah.
But when I was tired and got hit in the face,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, that
everything, though. You got guys smashing you, you get tired. Oh, man, here. Just
This is my
get
arm.
Some oxygen.
Take it, you jackass.
Let me get some oxygen.
I don't want to tap to punches.
Yeah.
Because apparently that's a bitch-like thing to do.
But
now, if Steve hit me, I'd tap. And I'd feel good about it. He's
just
a big man.
The shockwave of the fist passing
you
me.
Letting me get one in.
Well, you know.
I mean, that's the difference.
Well,
I would celebrate and jump out the ring.
Again, if your cardio is going to last more than 2 minutes, you're going to get one in.
Yeah.
I'm going to celebrate and jump out the ring.
But yeah, that's the thing with Bisping. He seems like he's willing to go the distance with anybody. But I just feel that that GSP always seems to figure out a way to beat his opponent.
He's well, you know, the thing about him is, and this is, we talked about this earlier, striking specialist, grappling specialist. He's got the best jab in MMA.
Yep.
He's got the best double leg in MMA.
Yep.
He's got significantly good takedown D. That's most of why he wins.
Yeah.
Because if you're a good grappler, he goes, "Oh, you're a really good jiu-jitsu guy? I'm sorry, we're doing the other thing tonight."
I'm going to stick and move.
Yeah, we're going to do the other thing.
Yeah.
And if you're a really good striker, he goes, "Oh man, no one told you we're grappling tonight."
Yeah, I'll take him down.
When he fought Diego Alves, on the ground.
Oh yeah.
When he fought Matt Hughes, boxing. You know, whatever you're doing, we're doing the other thing. And he was good enough at both skill sets.
Yeah.
That he could decide, he could enforce his will. Whatever you were good at, my anti is good enough to stop that, and my will is strong enough to start this.
Yeah, yeah.
Smartest guy out there. God bless him. You know.
Yeah,
Doesn't need to do squats. Great ass.
Thank you, Nolan. I appreciate that very much.
There you go.
Yeah, but yeah, that's that. And you hit upon the one thing too is I've seen a lot of guys. I know guys who have fought, who've been. I've been to training camps, guys prepping to fight him, and I thought it's like really shocking to me that they were just embracing the fact that they were going to lose the takedown game. And I was like, that is, in my mind, I was going, that's the greatest mistake they're making right now.
Right.
Because that's his greatest weapon. That's one of his greatest weapons.
Right.
So you have to take that. That's the battle right there. That's where the fight's won.
Right.
And then I watched UFC, and then what happened? They got taken down, and they got smashed for. They survived. They didn't get submitted, but they lost.
No, yeah, he went the distance a lot. But the guy who determines the status of the fight, standing on the ground, wins.
Well, you got to take away their weapon. You got to take away. What is their weapon? And you got to take. And that's what I guess that's really what he does. He figures out what their greatest weapons are.
And to some degree, Frank Shamrock too, back in the day.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely impressed us. But did anybody watch the fight? You guys didn't watch the fights today?
No, I it hasn't aired on my television yet. I was going to come in here and predict the winner, and now he already won. So I'm not going to do that anymore because I look stupid. That's a really good. Gustafsson really played into what we're talking about in that he imposed his will, his fight. No matter whether or not he did run like he. You know, he does kind of
Teixeira would
run
try
away,
to corner him, and man, he'd sprint. And then Teixeira got so frustrated that he would run with him.
Now, I didn't see the fight decision.
No, he knocked him out.
Okay, cool.
Gustafsson,
Later?
in the 5th round, he beat him. His striking, he kept the range and used you know what, the uppercut. You know, Teixeira didn't have an answer for his uppercut. And he was just tagging him with the uppercut. Well, and he's got the reach, and he makes it work. And he throws kind of a funky, it's kind of almost an up jab. Yeah. I haven't so
seen the fight
long.
yet, but he throws an up jab that's really pretty. Yeah. And it's annoying. And if it controls the distance, he's got 5 inches of reach or something. Oh, yeah. No, Teixeira did slam him a couple of times, you know, just a really big slams. But it was so dynamic, and I think Gustafsson has learned now how to continue the momentum. Right. Whereas before, when he fought DC would slam him, and he would just hit the ground and stay flat. And in this fight, when Teixeira slammed him, he'd do a high C on him and pick him up and slam him. When he slammed him, Gustafsson did this rollout with it, and so literally he would kick, and it would just cause momentum. It remains to be seen if he could do that with DC, whose takedowns are. DC's really going to retire after Jones' fight. He's never going to fight Gustafsson. I think he should. He's never. Okay, Jones and DC. Okay, I don't know which Jones shows up, right? And I don't. Look at Steve smiling. How do you know which one shows up? Right. Because he's been gone. Because the same DC always shows up. Yeah, he does. That guy's consistent. Yeah, he does, and he always looks like he's not going to fight. And I can't. Personality-wise, I can't find myself liking the guy. Yeah. I don't know why, because I'm sure it's me. He's flat. It's not me. Yeah. He's flat. Yeah, who cares? Yeah, And when he tries to be clever and funny, it's just like, stay in your lane, right? Just do what you do. But I think that if Jones comes back, and if Jones is his old self, old self still has the answer. Yeah. I don't think so. In fact, let me pull off a couple winners here for fights coming up. Okay. So I'm giving my predictions here. Oh, here we go. Okay. We got Aldo fighting Holloway. Yep. Great fight, great fighters, both of them wonderful. Holloway beats almost everyone. I don't think Aldo's in that almost thing. I think Aldo gets him. I think he's too sharp. Which Aldo's going to show up? Well, again, that's the thing. First of all, is Aldo going to show up?
and then which Aldo shows up.
Well, and again, we're talking primetime Aldo.
Okay.
Did he get redheaded to death, and is that guy gone forever? I don't know. But Aldo showing up at 85% should be enough to beat Holloway.
Yeah, the power, right? Just
the
power.
sharpness. The
sharpness,
crisp,
yeah.
His accuracy is good, so I'm going to go with that. Let's go with the next one here. That's that same one. On the same card, you got Marquardt Belfort. Who do you pick?
Oh, I have to go with Belfort.
You know what? I don't. But then again, it's in Brazil, so are they going to drug test?
Yeah, I think Belfort's done with the peds.
You think he's done with it? Well,
he's done.
Non-medicated Belfort hasn't done nearly as well.
I know.
Nearly as well. So,
what a beast, man! Right?
When he was young, he
should
was
have broke Jones's arm. No, but even
yes.
He should have broke Jones's arm. He spin hook kicked Rockford.
Yes, to death.
Knocked him out.
To death. How Rockford didn't come out with a nose that looked like Bisbing from that, I don't know.
That is amazing. But what a difference, though, right? From enhanced Belfort to natural Belfort. Wow.
You know, and if neither one of them are doing,
Marquardt isn't clean either, though.
He certainly had dirty times too.
Yeah, he got popped a couple of times too, or at least once. But anyways.
So who knows which one of these guys is going to show up?
Yeah, there we go. Another one who's going to show up.
Depends on masking. Okay.
Oh, here we go. Some women fighters.
I got to pick Amanda Nunes. She's got reach. She's got more heat. She's on a roll. Got to go with it.
How is Shevchenko's grappling though?
Again, I've never really seen Nunes grappling too much. I mean, she's a
beast.
Straight punch. She's those beautiful straight punches.
So strong, right?
Beautiful straight punches. And I'll be honest with you, I had kind of underestimated her.
Yeah.
And her last couple fights, she's made me a believer. I mean, that girl, I've trained several women, like 4 or 5 who've won world championships in striking arts. And this girl can hit.
Yeah.
She can crack a lack. So if she can maintain her distance.
Yeah.
And get off her stuff again. You've got significant reach advantage.
Yeah.
You've got a speed advantage. You've got a power advantage. Now, grappling, and we go back to who determines whether it stays up or down. I haven't seen a girl yet with a takedown that was dominant.
Yeah, I don't think she loses until that other
Cyborg.
female. Yeah,
no one wants to fight Cyborg. Poor girl.
Well, she just fought last weekend.
No,
in the big league.
Yeah.
She just fought at the retreat.
Yeah.
She punched some girl at the retreat.
Yeah,
and apparently she won if you don't count the jail time that maybe.
Talking about the just thinning out the room. I'm here to fight.
Yeah.
No one. That woman.
Do you follow her Instagram?
Yeah.
Oh wow! That whole Candyman game she was playing with Rhonda. Yeah. Say my name 3 times and I'll be there.
Yeah.
Because, I would not say that. That scares me.
Yeah, but just it's tough. Who else you got here?
Okay, let's see.
Oh no, you got Dillashaw.
Oh, Dillashaw Johnson was going to happen, isn't going to happen,
Who wants to watch that fight?
I do.
Oh.
I love Dillashaw's movement. He's problematic.
Wait, but is Johnson the same weight?
Dillashaw is going to go down. Dillashaw is going to go down. If you look at him,
my God,
if you look at him next to Cody, he's actually a pretty small guy. If you look at him next to Garbrandt's monstrously larger.
Yeah.
So it is reasonable to think he can drop a weight class.
Are they going to do a catch weight?
125 is the rumor.
My God.
And at 125, how much strength does he lose? And Demetrius is perfect.
Demetrius, does he even diet? Does he show up on the weight scale with a Twinkie in his mouth?
I think he wakes up, slaps Thor around a little bit.
Yeah.
Goes to the Fortress of Solitude, teaches Superman how to fly, cracks Darth Vader's helmet, and then he's going to balance the budget.
Yeah.
He's perfect. Everything he does is perfect.
Now that you talk about that, should be it could be a fireball of a fight
if Dillashaw can
make the weight healthy.
And then how will Johnson deal with his movement?
Yeah.
Because Dillashaw's movement is so problematic.
And he's going to be heavier and he's going to hit harder.
Well, he's not a huge hitter, but
but he's going to have the weight advantage.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Who's next?
Overeem Verdum. Again, monsters. They can both hit. They can both win.
That's that ped thing again, huh?
And not anymore. Oh boy, let me tell you.
Are you accusing Overeem of something?
What a difference! What a difference, though. I love Overeem. I followed his career from the very start, and the guy, there's just some guys that get it the mental game. And they understand you need this training, you need to do this, you need to do that. And he's been good at that. Of course, he's been enhanced.
Right.
And you could tell.
Yeah, he was beautiful.
Wow. When he was he's one of those, he's like old Mark Kerr.
Right.
What did they used to call him? The Phenom or something like that, or I can't remember. But Mark Kerr was a UFC fighter. And
Early.
Yeah, but he was 100% chemical. Once he got off
with the right chemicals, that was absolutely enough.
Yeah, but Overeem Verdum, that is a long history of fights.
Here's my call on that. Under 2 rounds, if it ends in under 2 rounds, Overeem got it.
Yeah.
If it goes past it, Verdum's
going to get it. Verdum needs a win, too.
Right.
Verdum needs a win.
Well, and if Overeem gets into the 3rd round,
they both need a win. Let's be honest.
No, you know what? The UFC paid that man so much money, they got to make their money back.
Yeah,
so he's still going to keep fighting. That guy is like really well paid compared to all the other fighters.
And I'm not mad at him.
Yeah.
I mean,
and under-delivered by far.
When he showed up, I was like this. Ooh, then he walked in the ring, I was like,
Yeah. Who's next?
Okay, Weidman Gastelum. You look at their stats on striking, really similar knockout ratio, really similar on everything. Weidman's got a lot of reach. He's got a lot of height on him. Also, way better takedown wrestling game.
Yeah.
Got to go with Weidman on that. Although Gastelum's a bigger hitter.
Yeah.
And one punch can change everything. Really
Which fighter shows up? Because they both had.
I'm probably going to make a little bet on Weidman for this one.
Yeah.
Again, he can get hit. Gastelum can knock out anyone he hits. He lands clean.
He does have the power, right? Yeah.
But they both have about a 40% knockout ratio, so they're both solid hitters.
Has he recovered, though, from that massive knee, though?
Well,
oh, my God.
Do you recover from that?
I mean, that's like,
all right, let's see here. Daniel Cormier, John Jones.
Ah, the money.
Yeah. I think if Jones wins or loses, doesn't really change one thing. He brought a different level of athlete to the sport. He's the level of athlete that could have played football or could have played pro basketball.
Well, he's got 2 brothers.
Who play pro football. Yeah. So he is that level of athlete.
Yeah.
And we have seen very little of that level of athlete, especially at heavy and light heavy, because those guys go into those other sports because, again, that's
more
where
money.
The money.
Yeah.
And he is the greatest athlete, larger athlete the UFC's ever had, and he's changed that. And then when you get more guys coming in to MMA 10 years, 20 years from now, who have a 40-inch vertical leap. And a 700-pound squat, and can still do a 4.340 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool.
It's hard. Which Jones shows up? DC is going to come prepared, and he's going to come to fight. And
he may actually come in a little better than he usually does.
He's got to have to, because he wants to retire.
He wants it.
He wants the fight. First of all, he wants the fight.
Right.
He wants the fight.
And he in his heart, he's already won.
Yeah. But he's gonna. I think lose, win or draw, he's gonna retire after this fight.
You think DC is?
Yeah.
Well, he has been commentating though.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that
ESPN does pay better.
He gets paid without getting hit.
Yeah, ESPN pays a lot better.
Even if you get paid less, but you don't get hit in the face.
I get to run my mouth, and I don't have to worry about getting hit in the face.
Kind of like me behind this microphone.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm just a commentator.
Are we getting paid?
Jesus
Christ.
Wait a minute.
I would have been so much better if I had known.
Checks in the mail, buddy.
Yeah.
Checks in the mail. But I really want to thank you because you really, you laid it out. There's a lot of training and a lot of experience to be had inside the Academy for MMA, for mixed martial arts. Outside of that, there are a couple amateur organizations that you can do.
Right.
And then you can jump into local and state level pro. I don't really talk about intrastate and national stuff because that's got to be just a wild frontier there. Each state's so different and so many different associations. And then after that, you can jump up. But I think you brought up a good point though, is that you got to bring the dedication and treat it like a profession.
Be ready to go. You talked about conditioning earlier. We've talked about it all through today. Nothing is more important than conditioning. Yeah. Vince Lombardi said fatigue makes cowards out of us all.
Yep. And that I remember when I did a 3-round fight. That first round, it lasted forever. It was the longest round of my life. I thought I was like, I got this, and I was gassed. And
I recently cornered for a guy who's a good jiu-jitsu player. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt, and he's just a really talented guy. He is soft. He's overweight. He doesn't know how to strike any And he went out there and took the guy down the first round. And then for 2 rounds, he basically just got hammered in the head.
Yeah.
And I told him beforehand, I said, I'm a corner for you, but this is not a jiu-jitsu competition.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear, I've got a jiu-jitsu guy's going, I've got a fight this weekend. You've got a match this weekend. And I'm not saying it's not hard. I'm not saying jiu-jitsu guys are world-class tough. But if someone's not trying to punch you in the face, it's not a fight.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not.
No, but and also too though it's just like anything else. It doesn't matter what the sport is or the event is, right? A CrossFit workout can devastate you.
You just can't let that go.
Huh? What's that?
You're Jehovah's Witness.
Do you know what though? But doing heavy squat is something that can wipe you out also.
No.
So it doesn't. I can be CrossFitter, but if I go through a leg workout,
I almost tagged you on a meme the other day for that.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to get choked out.
It's just he's gonna bring it out of me, ain't you? It's a good thing Eric Nolans between us.
I can move.
I'm happy
because I can outrun you. but it's what I'm saying though is that even in wrestling, like a wrestling match is one of the most intense,
fatiguing.
Wrestling matches are 6 minutes long. Guys train their entire lives
for 6 minutes.
For 3 periods.
Right.
3. I mean, that's how intense it is.
The week leading up, Jolly Rancher in a spit cup.
Yeah.
And don't drink any water.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Weigh the food before you eat it. You know, all these different things. But what I'm getting at though is that you really don't understand it till you've been in there, and then you realize you really appreciate. Oh yeah, maybe those sprints were important.
Right. Right. Maybe professional athletes are better than me.
Yeah. So, but anyways, all right, we're gonna wrap it up. I could talk to you forever. I would like to have you back on the show again. Maybe we get Brian on here or somebody else with you, and you know we can really because one of my goals too is with this podcast. It's about performance, and I'm a martial artist. Martial arts is what got me into the entertainment business, and it's so important to me that
Speaking of entertainment business, Eric, how many movie stars did you have come out of here?
None. I'm a stunt man. Bastard.
I've had a couple stuntmen. Yeah. Had a stunt girl.
Yeah.
But Steve, you just want. We're gonna do a podcast on entertainment. Not that kind of entertainment, but you have. I feel that if somebody wants to come and learn how and get involved in MMA, and that they can come here and they have the facilities to train and make it
safely. As safely as you can possibly be.
Yeah.
And then safety's everything, guys. Don't let your ego get in the way of good sense. I mean, if you want a long career.
Mouthpiece. I don't need no stinking mouthpiece.
Gloves, hand wraps. Oh, I don't need to wrap my hands.
I don't need headgear.
I don't need to wrap my hands. Really, Mike Tyson wasn't tough, but you are.
I think one of the things they should do if you're wanting to be a fighter, you should come down and sit down. Just sit down and have a conversation and find out the average UFC champion has been in the game for how many years?
People forget. I knew Chuck Liddell when he worked at Brubex's in San Luis Obispo.
Fighting for $10 an hour, basically.
Yeah, that's the Chuck I knew.
And Chuck liked it.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
Chuck, God bless his soul.
You could talk to him about fighting. He goes, yeah.
He is a warrior. He is. There's no one who likes it better than he does.
He loves it. But what the thing too is though is just that whatever we do a podcast is that there's resources in Bakersfield for you to express yourself. And
come on down.
Yeah, and then
we'll
come out here and get some. Now you got to show this head, Steve. Look at this. Look at what's been holding up his.
Our quality video equipment.
Put it in your fist. Can you get your fist fit in there? Look, it's for practicing punching, precision striking. There, ladies and gentlemen.
That is a cheesy piece of equipment.
No, but that is about as precise equipment as you're gonna get. I want to see a chin shot. I want to see a nose shot.
This chin. This chin reminds me of a certain somebody we know. Just look at the imprint of the chin.
That is a pretty chin. That is a pretty chin.
It's better looking than me. Okay, I'll give you that.
We got to paint some piercing blue eyes on there.
But anyway, all right. Well, thank you, Eric, very much for coming in. It's been awesome, and thank you, everyone. This will be up if you guys missed us on Instagram. We're working on our location podcast. We'll get it dialed in next. All right. Thank you guys very much. Have a good night.
Have a super one, guys.
All right.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?